All right, 1, 2, 3. Welcome to ASIS 2017, Dallas, Texas. I'm at the ASIS Hub. That's booth 1613, smack dab in the middle of the show. Come on by and say hi and watch the show. My next guest, Mr. Brandon Reich, pivot3.com.
That's correct.
I like the name. It's intriguing. Tell me what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we help organizations solve some of the challenges that are arising, particularly around video surveillance with all of the data that's being generated.
Too much data, drowning in it.
Absolutely. So as technology has advanced in cameras, in video analytics, and all kinds of other related technologies around video surveillance, we're seeing higher and higher resolution cameras, multi-megapixel, high definition 4K, 7K, 8K type cameras out there. All of these solutions are generating so much more data, and now we can do so much more with that data than we ever have been able to before. So not only are we generating much more, but suddenly that data is much more important to us than ever before.
Right.
So things like system downtime, like data loss, like hardware failures, these have major implications to our businesses, to our organizations.
And it might not have an impact right now because we don't know about it, but 5 weeks from now when I need that tape, look how old I am. When we need the video and it's not there, that's a major problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are real implications to that. There could be operational interruptions, there could be regulatory problems, there could be just your inability to use that video as evidence to capture or recover whatever you're trying to investigate. So there are real challenges around how to store, manage, and protect all of that data that's out there today.
Excellent. Now, tell us how you guys achieve that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we take a very IT-centric approach to how we go about managing video surveillance systems. One of the biggest trends in the world of IT and data center infrastructure today is the concept of the software-defined data center. And what software-defined means is eliminating the big, complex, expensive, proprietary hardware that most data centers are full of.
Okay.
And moving to much lower cost, much simpler, fairly off-the-shelf commodity-type hardware, but using very specialized software to replicate all of the features and functionality and capabilities of that big, expensive hardware.
Oh, now, would this be, instead of calling a GSOC, they're calling them VSOCs? Is it virtual operation center? Is that kind of what that is?
That's a big part of it, absolutely.
Okay.
So we talk about virtualization, and what does virtualization mean? A big part of it is eliminating hardware, servers, workstations,
right,
everything else. And one of the virtualization in the IT world has been around for a long time, well over a decade. We've brought the ability to virtualize video surveillance systems and all of the related applications, access control, visitor management, PSIM, whatever other applications there are, into a virtualized environment, optimized to work for a video surveillance workload, which is a very challenging workload for most data center applications, and then even extending that virtualization capability out now to the workstation, to the client. So how do we take a typical client workstation that may be found inside of a security operations center, virtualize it, and send it out now to a mobile device, or to a remote guard shack, or to a first responder, or somebody that needs access to that
right away,
without limiting the functionality of it. So not just giving a mobile app, for example, but actually sending a fully functional, fully integrated client workstation, like you would find inside of a security operations center, out to a person that needs access to it immediately, and giving them the information they need in their hand when they need it so that they can respond and hopefully mitigate a particular incident very quickly.
Now, tell me about the challenges of the EOC employee. In the day, we would build the EOC at the studio, and we put guards in there. And we said, hey, guard, here's how you work Windows XP. You push this button, this is an alarm, you push this button, you do this. Gotten more complicated now. We can't draw the personnel to operate those centers from the IT world because there's a 1 million person shortage.
That's right.
They're not there. I got 1 million guards over here that were never trained in the last 20 years, that should have been, that don't know the technology. How easy does Pivot3 make it for that end user to just get in there and do really the important basics as you're talking about? Here's the data, I push a button, I'm going to get it out to my guy in the field. And when we need the technicians to come in later, right? But is it easy to use as an operator interface?
Absolutely, and in fact, one of the things that we really prided ourselves on, and we put a lot of effort towards, is designing the complexity of using and managing these systems out of them.
Okay.
So it really comes about in two ways. One is how difficult is it to deploy and manage our infrastructure, the servers, the storage, the networking, everything that comes sort of the back end of the system that people don't think about. A lot of people hear virtualization technology and SAN storage and all that, and they think about, gosh, this is big, complex IT
exactly right.
stuff, right? We have designed the complexity out of that. We've made it very, very simple to deploy. We have a deployment, in fact, it's one of the largest in the United States. It's at one of the largest transit authorities in the United States. So very high risk type of operation. They have multiple petabytes worth of storage in place. And petabytes, that's what we're talking about now, is petabytes. And this
I'm
entire
laughing because
system,
I had an iOmega drive that was 1 gigabyte back in the day, and we thought that was magic.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we've come a long way since then.
Right.
So get used to the word petabyte and zettabyte and exabyte. You're going to start hearing those here pretty soon.
All right.
But we have this one deployment at about 250 locations, dozens of petabytes worth of storage. The entire system is managed by one person. He estimates about 20% of his time to do it.
Right.
He has no IT background. In fact, he came out of the law enforcement world.
Okay.
He does not have a deep IT background at all. And he manages one of the largest, most complex systems, video surveillance systems in the world. And in 5 years, they have not experienced a single minute of downtime, and they have not lost a single byte of data.
Now, that is fascinating. And at first, when you said a police officer runs it, I started laughing because I had my first computer in '84 and brought it into the police station. And the chief laughed me out the door and said, "What are you doing?" Right? Cops tend not to be in this space. It's just the way they are, my brothers and sisters. It's okay. On the other hand, it's a brilliant person to put in the space because what cops are, diligent.
Absolutely.
Dogged. They're going to go after it. If that alarm goes off, they're not going to say, forget it, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. They're going to do something about it. So I think that's a great person to train. We may be missing a workforce here. Retired people like myself, you know what? I'm going to make sure that's my responsibility. I'm going to take care of it. I think that's a great model.
Well, you know,
great
you
model.
have, and I spend most of my career working with police officers, law enforcement, both federal, state, local, and there's really two types of people in the security technology industry. You have somebody that has more of a technology or an IT background that doesn't necessarily understand risks and threats and vulnerabilities, and then you have somebody who has much more of a law enforcement type of background that really understands the application, understands what problem are we trying to solve.
Right. They get
and
the
maybe
people
doesn't
part.
understand all the technology behind it, but they're the ones that really are critical to us, ensuring that we're solving problems for them and not getting in the way of them ultimately doing their job. Because in many cases, we're talking about people's lives
It's
at
life
risk.
and death, and the cops get that.
Absolutely.
Brilliant model.
Absolutely.
Brendan Reich, pivot3.com. Excellent. Thanks for coming on SecurityGuideTV.com here at ASIS 2017. We're in the ASIS Hub, booth 1613 in the center. Come on by and say hi. We'll be back in a minute with another interview.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's fascinating.